Sample story shared with Susan Amerongen, January 20th, 2012. Lacey Riley. Mr. Myslicki handed out rolls and rolls of commemorative Remembrance Day quarters to complete strangers in extra foods. At a garage sale, while I walked back to my vehicle to grab some change to buy a General Lee car my son was clutching, Mr. Myslicki paid for it. Donning his Santa hat and walking around Walmart, upon catching my then 2.5-year-old daughter watching him, came over and gently handed her a pen and wished her a Merry Christmas. Over a year later, she still calls it my Santa pen. My ailing father-in-law had Mr. Myslicki out to install a satellite dish. After the installation was complete and they had visited, my father-in-law asked for the amount due. During his visit, he had heard that my father-in-law was ill and insisted on no charge. When telling us later, my father-in-law had tears in his eyes. This story is such a precious memory to us all now that he is gone, to know that he had been touched by true kindness. Thank you, John. Shauna Hansen Praisjes. Just a small example of John's thoughtfulness. It was almost 25 years ago when our beloved father, Gordon Hansen, passed away. John was teaching school with him in those days. Our family was sitting together at home, still in shock, and none of us had eaten in a couple of days. Could not even think about it. John arrived that afternoon with 3 large pizzas from Mountain Steak and Pizza House in Edson, 30 miles away. You cannot imagine our surprise and gratitude. There is no better comfort food than pizza. It really helped. Thank you, John. Roxanne Setzer. John is the most caring, giving person I have ever met. He and his wife, Marg, have been pillars in our community since they arrived here years ago. John was a fellow teacher with my mom for years. 1.5 years ago, when my dad passed away, John didn't hear about it until after the funeral. He stopped in to see Mom as soon as he heard, to visit her. Then a week later, when I was going to Mom's to visit her, there was a box on the doorstep. Taking it to Mom, she opened it to find a very nice letter he had written about Dad and a pen for each member of the family that lights up every 3rd click to remember Dad when the light comes on. After photocopying the letter and giving one to each family member with their pen, we were also touched by his kindness once again. You were always an inspiration, a person we all care about and are so fortunate to have in our community. Thanks to you and Marg. Love, Roxanne Setzer. Cindy Dennison. Dear Susan, I am extremely pleased you are interviewing John. He deserves the recognition more than you can believe. I first met Mr. Myslicki back in the 1970s when he taught me in grade school. He was the most patient and kind man a child could have as a teacher. If you have a look at Facebook, you will find that most of his friends are his former students. Facebook has been a wonderful way for a lot of us to reconnect with him. He taught at Knighton School the whole time I attended until I graduated, and continued for years after that. Any function that involves the school or community, you could count on John being present. Not just being there, but being involved in any way he could to help with the event. When my husband's mom retired from teaching at Knighton School, he gave a wonderful speech that moved her to tears. My mom had died when I was young, and I always remember him being extra kind to me, and that will always mean so much to me. He was always there if I needed someone to talk to and encouraged me when I thought I couldn't go on. After moving from Knighton, I didn't have the opportunity to be in contact with John. But now with Facebook, I have had the opportunity to catch up on what he is doing and hear what others in the community think of him. I am extremely pleased to see that John has not changed from my wonderful childhood memories of him. If anything, he has gotten better, if that is possible. I hear over and over of all the times he pays for people's meals without them knowing, paying for gas when people are stranded while traveling, and even installing satellite TV for those in extreme need, emotionally and financially. John made sure that my family knew what wonderful men my dad and my father-in-law were when they both passed away recently. Before John's son got married, a friend of mine asked if I knew of the Myslicki family and what they were like. She was concerned for the girl. Boy, did I laugh. I told her that if every girl should have the opportunity to marry into a family like them, what a wonderful world we would live in. Most people would give anything to have in-laws as caring as John and Marg. I know John and his family are not rich in money. They could be putting away all the money they give away to retire in an extravagant place. But no, we are honored to have him choose to stay in our community and help out who he sees needs it, again, emotionally or financially. If you ever need a shoulder to cry on or someone to listen to your troubles, John is the man. He helps more people just by listening to their troubles than he ever knows. And when he shares his stories about helping and listening to people, again, he is helping a lot more people without even knowing it. Thanks for interviewing John. He deserves it. Cindy Dennison.